Okay, we are on, y'all. Y'all ready? Hello, world. Hello, social media world. How you all doing? My name is Jorge Rivera. I'm a co-founder and co-director of the Healing and Justice Center. And you all might just be watching this as a recording because we all didn't notice that we put the wrong date on some of our social media posts. So we put on December 10th, but of course today is December 17th. So if y'all are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching and for supporting our work. Let's do a round of intros of everybody else. I'm going to go down the screen here. Katherine, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. My name is Katherine, and I am the project coordinator for the Healing and Justice Center.
I guess I'm next. My name is Karla, and I am the communication manager.
Hey y'all, I'm Azucena. I am co-founder and director of the Healing and Justice Center. And my energy is just really off today. So, hey, we're here to talk about what it means to practice this, right? And this is what it means to practice, to show up with my disappointment. My smile is not as big, my energy is not going to be as big. Then somehow when I'm here in these spaces, there's this like light in my heart that comes on and things shift. We'll see if that happens today, but that is how I am showing up today to this space. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching the recording or being live. To be honest, I don't know who's out there right now. So
Well, that's a good start. Let's just do a quick check-in because we normally do check-ins, during our meetings internally. So, how are you showing up? Azucena kind of just shared how she's showing up, and how are you, Katherine and Karla? How y'all showing up today? What's going on? And be real, because that's be transparent.
Well, my heart is kind of hurting today. It's been a really rough week for me, and I would say I'm coming into this. We're going to be talking about healing, and I don't feel healed, but we'll get more into like what healing means and trying to remap my brain work of like healing isn't like what healing isn't and what healing is. So that's all I'll share for now.
Thank you, Katherine. It's kind of hard to share. Like, my first instinct is like to want to lighten up the mood and say that I'm, X, Y, and Z, sort of, cheer up the space. But in reality, I feel the same way. I've had a rough week. And I'm really tired and just a mix of emotions. Mix of emotions. There is some happiness, some excitement. I have my sister here with me, and that's exciting, and my family also for the holidays, and that really brings a lot of joy. But another part of me is also feeling just really, really drained and sad, and just a mix of all these emotions. But I'm here and I'm happy to be in this space, and I'm very happy to be with all of you. So that's great. So that's me.
Thank you. Is there anything you want to add to your check-in, Azucena?
No, I think I'll cover it when we start sharing or talking. I think the question continues to be why healing, right? And
Yeah.
today specifically is what does it mean to think about our own personal connection to healing and justice as we do this work, as we show up. for others. So I'm excited to be able to do that. And what else? Yeah, I don't think there's anything else regarding my check-in. I think that's just where I'm at today.
Yeah.
How
Well,
about
I'm
you?
kind of like, huh?
How about you?
Well, about me, I am, uh, I'm feeling like I'm still holding some disappointment from the news that we got earlier today about the grant. Being a nonprofit and being a small nonprofit is like we really rely on funding um, and so having the news that we weren't able to accept the funding award that we were granted is really disappointing. And that's what happens, right? And That's disappointing. So I know that the energy is kind of low. I think like we all need a break. Like we started off, we we put it on the wrong date for today's live session. So that I think is a sign that we need some rest and we need some unplugging and we need some other distractions. But I'm really excited to be on here. This is our third live stream for the month, and we're doing this live stream as part of our fundraising end of the year fundraising campaign. And so just being on here and talking to you all live and transparently with everybody else is really exciting for me. So a mix of emotions there. Um, so let's do some grounding if y'all are down. I
Yes.
was actually like doing some tapping earlier, and that really seemed to help. So we can do the butterfly tapping that we learned from the resiliency toolkit. And if y'all want to follow along, if y'all want to try this, butterfly tapping is just put your hands in the form of a butterfly interlaced with your thumbs, and then you can just lay them on your chest, and you're going to just tap just right below the bone, the clavicle, and just find a rhythm and sort of like a depth of the tapping that is comfortable for you. I think I found that my tapping is rapid. I like the rapid tapping. Other people like to alternate and do softer tapping. Let's just stay here. Maybe close your eyes. Notice your breath. And just tap for a little minute. And really take your attention to the tapping, to the points that are on your body, that you're making connection with. Really connecting the mind and the body in this exercise. All right, let's take a deep breath. Slow release. One last deep breath. And release. All right. Well, thank y'all for joining me in that. Thanks for following. As I mentioned, this live stream is part of our year-end fundraising. So if y'all are still in the giving mood or have some stuff to give, we are seeking your support. Monthly supporter status would be fantastic at $5 a month. That's like the cost of a coffee. So if you want to buy us a coffee a month, that's all you got to do. The links are actually at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, we would be really appreciative if you can make a donation and become a monthly supporter. So today's topic for the live stream is just about like, we're the Healing and Justice Center. So we try to implement, we try to walk the talk and we try to live by what we're actually preaching and teaching. And so today is just kind of like a reflection for all the staff to share like what it's been like to work at HJC. What's it like to try to implement healing and wellness practices at work, and how that has that impacted your life. Um, how has what has the experience been? So who would like to kick us off? I guess I'll start. I mean, I'll start just to give everybody kind of like a momentum here. Well, I mean, I think we added Katherine late last year. Not Yeah, late last year, right? And so and prior to that, Karla and Azucena, like we've all worked together, so we had some time to kind of acclimate to one another, and we all have been in relationship with each other prior. So I think that that it was different when Katherine joined, because Katherine wasn't part of our immediate circle. And so I think I, as kind of like the director, supervisor, it was challenging, and it was challenging in that there was somebody new that was coming into the team, and I wanted to be mindful of that and be mindful of their experience and where they're coming from, and how that's been for them. So I just wanted to make sure that it was welcoming, that it was safe space, and I was nervous that maybe Katherine might not acclimate to kind of like the culture. So there was some nerve there, and we're a small organization, so it's not like we have like a full-on employee handbook and all that stuff that we can just give to Katherine and like, here, read this, and this is how it works here. We're kind of building the plane as we're flying it. So I was wondering how like Katherine was going to take that and how that would land with her. So that was tough. And then like we have differences of opinion, we have differences of perspective, and there were times where things got really tense and things got really heated, and so like learning to breathe through that and still be in relationship with one another, and all of that was kind of like really challenging too. But then on the flip side, there's just like this ease of, I don't know, just like believing and knowing that everybody is trying to work towards the same thing. Like we're all trying to work towards the same thing, and we're all in different stages of our own development, and bringing all that into the space, into the Healing and Justice Center, was very comforting, right? It felt very safe, and I think the fact that we were able to just show up the way we show up on that day, and sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not. The fact that we feel safe enough to be able to just disclose that, we're feeling crappy, or we don't have much energy, or we want to take a break, or we need some time off. That safety, I think, is just invaluable. And then like earlier, like mid-year, we decided to switch into like a 4-day work week, and just being able to have that conversation with you all, and it's been working out. It seems like it's been working out anyway. So those kind of things bring me a lot of joy and a lot of hope, and it really stresses for me that I think like we're on the right path and we're creating something that I hope is going to be a model for other organizations to implement, to create a different type of work culture. So yeah, I'll stop there and then I'll leave space for somebody else who would like to reflect on their journey thus far. Whenever
I
you
would
stop.
like to say, I kind of want to piggy off what you said, Jorge, because for me, when I started at HJC, it was exactly that. I finally had found a place where I felt safe enough to grow, to ask questions, um, to just get to know myself a little more, a deeper level that I didn't really know and that I was scared to find out more of, if that makes sense. And I just felt really in a safe space. And that to me has been such a special, I don't know how to word it, but it just feels really special. It makes me feel like not everyone gets to have that in their workspace, and I wish that they did, because it just it lifts so many like hurts that we have, or that at least I had, that just kind of let me blossom, I would say. So that's something that I was really reflecting on when we were about to meet for this meeting. I was like, oh, I really, really see such a huge difference in myself and how I've grown over the years. And it's because I feel like we're in a safe space and I could just be myself and there's no judgment. And I love that. So thank you. Thank you for allowing me to have that space with you all.
And blossom you did.
Yeah.
I might have frozen over here, but I think you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Katherine, do you want to go next?
Sure. I would say when I started with HJC, I was still in college. I was a volunteer. And when I graduated and I was asked to come on board with the team, I was really nervous because I was thinking I had to come skilled, like I had to have had all this experience first, and I'm coming in as a newbie and like a rookie really. Um and everyone just made me feel very welcomed. I almost felt like it was a test. Where I was like, why are they what's going on here? I wasn't used to it. I had other jobs where there was a lot of this like hierarchy nature, this authoritative nature, and working with HJC is a shared power dynamic. Like we're worker focused, and I didn't understand what that meant for like the first 6 months. So when Jorge and Azucena and Karla would ask for my input, I would think like, why do they care? Why are they asking me? Like, they're the ones that are the experts. Like, they should know. Like, what is this? And it really put me in my uncomfort like level, because I was thinking I don't know anything. Like, why am I being asked? Um, but I'm so grateful that it kept happening. Like we just stayed in it together, and I want to say it only wasn't until like recently where I'm like I'm waiting for them to ask me so I can just give my input. But then now it's transitioning into like, okay, I need to say what I think, because like it's gonna help us all move forward. Like, so I if that makes sense. And I think working with HJC has really really opened my eyes to like what Karla was saying, that not everyone gets to have this like safe environment at work. I remember a lot of places I worked for used to say like, "Oh, we're a family here." And I used to think, "Okay, great. Like that means it's a, an environment I want to be in." And it sure was family, but like a toxic one. I won't name where I worked, but that's what it was. And here with HJC, this feels like this feels like chosen family, like those dynamics. That's what it feels like kinship. Like we all want what's best for HJC. And okay, that's what I'll say because I'm running out of words.
Aw. Sorry if I keep freezing. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay, cool. So you get these really cool frozen shots of me and all my funny faces because I tend to make faces a lot when I. So you'll get some of those. Sometimes I'll look. I'm singing or something, I guess. Anyway, I really appreciate you hearing you and Karla sort of share because it makes my heart soften and be like, okay, it's not a complete mess, you know? Because to me, like, healing is a practice to me. Healing is not something where you arrive. And oftentimes people think, oh, I'm going to heal and I'm going to be healed and I'm going to have my stuff together, right? Keeping it PG, right? My stuff together. And I'm going to feel joyous and happy all the time, right? Like that's what we think about, like being healed. And healing is a practice. It means coming into awareness for me. It means reflecting on like what my triggers are. It means learning my body cues so that I can take a deep breath at the right time, or so I don't say the things that cross my mind, or not have word vomit and say things that might hurt someone else, right? So it's like intentionally, it's about practicing nonviolence. It's about intentionally not doing harm, right? At least attempting to, because sometimes I'm intending not to do harm. And then it turns out that like I said something or I said it in a specific way or I like, and I contributed to someone else's triggers or I contributed to someone else's stress. And so, there's days that my body and my mind are just not at its best. And so my practice is, not at its best. And so I get triggered a lot easier, or there was one meeting we had like 2 weeks ago. And this is where I think the truth of being a team comes in and a practice. Like I was so dysregulated. I am realizing that I'm probably perimenopausal. And that's a whole other, I can have a whole life. Women, professional women out there, if you have like a support group for women doing work in their 40s, please hit me up. Let's talk. Because I'm having all these experiences in my body that are not always congruent with my practice. And so 2 weeks ago or so, I'm having my brain is going 100 miles per hour. I have a lot of energy. I got so much done, but I could not stop the word vomit. I could not stop interrupting people. I couldn't, it was so hard for me. And so my practice was not the best that day. And I was being super intentional about honoring my needs and checking in and all that. But I'm in a certain position where I have to be mindful as well, right? Because if I am talking about power, I really, really have to make sure I'm creating that space because we're transitioning. We're not only because we're a worker self-directed nonprofit doesn't mean that we know exactly how to do it. We're learning and breaking patterns, and so I have to be super mindful of that when I'm in a space, right? And if I'm overwhelmed, my brain is going 100 miles per hour, I'm talking a lot, and I'm not, mindful, it can create hurts. But my team, I was straight out at the beginning. I'm super dysregulated. I'm blah, blah, blah. And my team was able to hold space for me in a way that felt super, and then Jorge, as the co-director, checked in with me. I was like, hey, you might have used your power in ways that, and I got to come back and check in with the team and work through that. It wasn't, we're very aware that we're not perfect, that some of our internalized white supremacy, some of our internalized perfectionism, and which is all under the umbrella of white supremacy, it's gonna come out while we're interacting with each other, right? Right? It means being aware of all those things in myself so that I can be transparent and model that for the rest of the team, and create those safe spaces and create space. Because like the question I ask people is like, when if I've been asking other people in other orgs, like when someone does finally share power with you, when someone finally who like would fit, quote unquote, into the role of like being in a position of power, if they actually ask you your opinion, if they actually want to share power with you and you haven't experienced that before, how is it for you? Just like Katherine mentioned in her share, she didn't actually believe us, even though we were trying so hard. Like, she didn't actually believe us for a long time. It took a while for her to actually trust us and build safety. And so that was a learning for me. Only because, trying doesn't mean that people immediately trust, right? Or be able to shift that. That's why healing is a practice. Only because, so anyway. Go for it.
I want to add to that, because at least for me, I was already in a safe place. Like, I trusted Jorge, I trusted Azucena because I know them, right? And so I felt already safe. But even then, being asked or like wanting my opinion or not being able to hide in the background was very, very difficult for me. It was a challenge. It was scary regardless, even though I knew I was in a safe space, just because I wasn't used to it and because I had certain hurts within myself, or like that I didn't trust myself. And so it was also such a challenge for myself, even though feeling in a safe space. So that can also happen. So I just wanted to name that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's what has it been like then, to be a part of the decision making and to be a part of, like, because I would imagine, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like part of the decision making does imply like another level of responsibility, right? And some people may want that, and some people may not. And it's okay. We're trying to make it okay for you to not want it. But what's it been like to be asked and to be included in like major decisions of the organization?
For me, it's made me reflect on why I don't have that trust within myself, or the doubts of my capability of taking it. It's not like I don't want the responsibility of doing it. It's just like my self-doubt. And so I've had to work on myself and trust myself, and just kind of, push myself to get out there and not be in this like shell of where I felt safe. That's how I can explain it, at least for me.
What comes up for me is also what Karla said, and also if I'm wrong and it doesn't work, oh, the guilt, the self-frustration of like, why not? Am I more? And so I guess it's like the getting over like failure. Oh man, yeah, that comes up for me a lot. But I think I've failed like a lot this year. Like, things just didn't work, and then I come to my team and I tell them what happened, and then we like regroup, we like come together. Like, I've never felt rejected by the team, by our team, and I've felt rejected before at my other jobs. If I made some kind of mistake, and having a supervisor bully me and shaming me, and just taking it because I was just a student, or I was just a cashier, or I was just you know what I mean? Like that's how I make myself. So I think I'm I think because I'm in a safe space, I'm starting to see failure differently as well.
What about you, Azucena? What's it like to share power and decision making with others?
Woo! Such a growing space for me in so many ways. Okay, so for one, it was really hard at the beginning to have the power to direct, the power to decide, oh, I get to decide, or I get to like make decisions or be part of decisions about what I want or how I want it. And I had, in the previous organization that I worked at, there was a lot of shared power in a way, to a certain degree. It was still hierarchical, but there was a lot of shared power in like, I did get to have my voice. I did get to um, give my opinion, but I had never created something from scratch, right? I had never like dreamed something up and decided how, all of that, or like the weight of my decisions also, right? Like, so that was a lot. And having all that power and then being like, okay, but it's not all mine. Like I actually have to, part of that power means purposefully creating the platform for others' voice, even when they haven't found it yet, even if they're like, oh, whatever you want. No, my job is to make sure that it isn't just whatever I want, but it feels delicious to have whatever I want. Right? And so it's the truth. And to me, that's what I mean by practice, right? I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, oh, it doesn't feel good to be in power. Yes, it feels really good when you have power. It feels really good when you're to be able to create and be able to be like, oh, this, and like it has meaning and it has weight to it and it's important, right? Of course it feels good. And it was so much more powerful to know, and like I can use power to create the platform so everyone's voice is people can hear, so that other people can, so like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, especially like with you, Jorge, it's been a trip. Like it's been hard to share power because I have to like separate like all kinds of dynamics, right? Like my internalized sexism, like keeping an eye out that sexism is not involved in our decisions, or that I'm not letting that be like something that's getting in the way of me contributing, or over fighting it, like being like, you know what I mean? Like my hurts, my around sexism, believe my like all of that stuff, right? So it's a lot of work to actually be in awareness of my power, of how much I share it, when when is my voice needed, when am I sharing my voice when it's not needed? Like it's just, a practice of awareness. And it's been really awesome because I feel like I've also grown so much. I've have found my voice and passion and like things that are meaningful to me and worth sharing, which I knew is what I wanted. I didn't know what it was going to look like, and I didn't really know what I was going to have to do to make this dream, right? Or even what it meant. Like, so like my social anxiety, like you having, suggesting we do this live and knowing that this recording can be out there forever. Or like having to go to places that I never thought, or be in rooms with people that I admire that I never thought I would be in a room with, it's just been really interesting to be in that position of power. So yeah, and it's been pretty awesome to be able to share it. Yeah, and it's been pretty awesome to be able to share it. I don't know why we're getting some echo now, but
Oh, okay. Thought everybody froze there for a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So it looks like our session for the live stream is going to end in about like 4 minutes. So maybe we
Well, that went by
can
fast.
just, yeah, maybe we can just wrap up and give some final thoughts on like how has I like how has working at HJC and doing all like the healing and the wellness practices impacted you personally? If you can do it in like a minute or so.
My compassion for others has increased like even more. It was already high. I didn't know it could go higher. So, and like, oh, sorry, that's all I'll say.
That's okay. Karla?
I was just thinking, well, what I wanted to say was when there are like, when there are like reels and like social media is like yelling at like something, I'm like, oh, but at something controversial, I'm also like, oh man, this is how they're representing their pain. Like this is how it's manifesting for them and spreading. So yeah.
How about you, Karla?
I would say my resiliency. Um, yeah, my resiliency. I feel like that's the biggest impact for me.
Azucena, do you want to share?
Sure. I kind of said it, but I don't know if I froze or not. But I just my journey here has definitely helped me come into myself and be more clear about the power of my voice and the power of my vision for change, right? Um, and I think that happened this last year. I was really hesitant, when I first started doing this, and I feel like I've come into myself a lot more. And I felt like my confidence probably has grown significantly.
Well, thank y'all. Yeah, as far as me, it's like I think my patience and also like my compassion, my understanding has probably grown. Especially like I said, like Catherine's introduction to HJC really challenged me in all kinds of ways, and I think that's great because Catherine's probably is going to be the first of many additions to HJC outside of my like immediate circle,
Yeah,
and really being in space with Catherine has helped me see like where I need to grow and where we can still grow into. Um, so before we get cut off, I just want to thank everybody so much for having this conversation. I'm sure that we can talk for longer, and I don't know why we're getting cut off so soon, but we'll figure that out for the next time. And hopefully this is